Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 1 of season 1 of the show Lilyhammer. Now, if you've not heard of this show, it's because it's a Netflix original. It's been out for a while. I think it first started airing or being available back in 2011. And Lilyhammer is a very interesting show. It stars a fellow by the name of Stephen Van Sant, who some folks might recognize as having been on The Sopranos, and other people might recognize as being a member of the E Street Band, the group that, of course, Bruce Springsteen is the front man for. Very, very famous rock group. I mean, the guy is literally a member of the E Street Band of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, and the basic premise of this show is extraordinarily interesting. It's basically an American mobster from New York goes into the witness protection program, and because he saw it on TV, he decides to go to this small town in Norway to start his life over again. And it is mentioned in the first episode that this is where they had the 1994 or 1996 Winter Olympics. Yeah, I think it was the 94 Winter Olympics. So this mobster happened to see this town in Norway on TV back then, thought like, wow, what a gorgeous place. That looks like a great place. So when he goes into witness protection, he tells the FBI, like, okay, you're going to send me to Norway. And I mean, that's really basically the kind of premise of the show. Like, what happens if you take an American mobster and turn him loose in a small town in Norway? And this show is a co-production between the United States and Norway. The dialogue is in both English and Norwegian. Of course, on Netflix, you can watch the Norwegian being subtitled into English. And again, I've only watched the first episode, but it's very, very good. I mean, just the premise, like, what happens if you turn an American mobster loose in a small Norwegian town? I mean, it's like, oh well, there's going to be some fireworks there, and that is the mobster in question, whose real name is Frankie, but in Norway he adopts the name Johnny. Yeah, he has a very well. Let me put it this way: you can take the man out of the mafia, but you can't take the mafia out of the man. He has a very blunt way of dealing with things, because let's face it, at the end of the day, we Americans are a very blunt people. Subtlety is in no way, shape, or form our strong suit, and it's barely in our vocabulary. We really do prefer the direct approach to most things in life here in the United States. And I can't really say that I'm familiar enough with Norwegian culture to really comment on their attitude towards that. But the fun comes that, Norway is a very safe, very orderly country in general. And, well, here you have a member of the mafia coming to this little town, which, while seemingly nice, is not without its people who are problematic. And, well, let's face it, mafiosos are known for dealing very decisively with people who are problems. So again, it's that real contrast between, sort of boring rural Norway thrown up against, this very hands-on American mobster. And it is very interesting to sort of watch this guy try to sort of start fitting into Norwegian society. And as different as our situations are, as somebody who's lived overseas in two different countries before, I really understand a lot of the moments this guy has. The moments where you look at the local food and go, what in the name of God would possess someone to eat this? When you get to your new home in your new country, you look around and you're like, oh my God, I really do have to live here? And in all my cases, I've never ended up in any place terribly bad. I mean, I've certainly heard horror stories from people who ended up in places far worse than anywhere I did. But still, it's very disconcerting because, well, let's face it, when you go and take the sort of jobs overseas that I had, you're never getting put up in high style. And it's other things like simply trying to start getting a handle on the language, trying to figure out, how to do day-to-day stuff. Those are the less than glamorous little things that never really cross people's minds when they think about life overseas. And that's it. Again, I have only watched the first episode, but I am really excited to watch more. This is fun stuff. From what I understand, the show, which is, as I said, is in its third season, has proven to be enormously popular over in Norway, and yeah, I've even saw that it's apparently aired on the BBC over in the UK. Here in the States, it's not really something a lot of people have heard about. But I was describing the premise of the show to one of my coworkers this afternoon, and she said, oh, "Wow, that does sound like pretty interesting. I'll have to have a look at Netflix when I get home." So yeah. Now, um, that said, I really don't have too much more to say about the show than this. It's a show that has an absolutely fantastic idea. Steven Van Sant, very talented guy. He even did the music for at least the first season. Like, again, remember, he's a member of a band that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So in addition to being an actor, the guy knows a little bit about music. So the music's just fine. I'm not, of course, familiar with any of the Norwegian actors on the show. So I can't really comment on anything else they might have done, but I have no complaints about anyone in the cast. It just feels like when you watch the show, like those moments when you try out a new show and you're like, oh yeah, this is totally up my alley. I'm gonna have fun with this, and that's exactly the feeling I get from Lilyhammer. This really does look like it's going to be a good show, and I can't wait tonight to sit down and watch another episode. And when you really are itching for that next episode, you know you found something good. So this is definitely in my recommend file. So with that said, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi. Until next time, take care and have a good one.